This NHC GOP podcast is sponsored by Wendell August Forge. Crafted by American artisans in America for nearly a century, Wendell August gifts are unique symbols of the stories, traditions, and milestones that bind us together. Christmas is coming up, so this is a perfect time to get holiday ornaments. Right now, buy 3 ornaments, get the 4th free. Use the code STOCKUP when you check out. Find out more about Wendell August Forge at wendellaugust.com. Forged with care, given with love, Wendell August Forge. Good evening and welcome to the NHC GOP podcast. I'm Rule Sample, happy and honored to be joined by Pete Wildeboer, candidate for school board and incumbent for school board. Pete, good evening. How you doing?
Rule, it's good to see you as always. Thank you so much for having me on tonight.
You have been out working the polls and talking to parents, not just now during the campaign, but you've been talking to parents for these last few years that you've been on the board. What's the number one thing that you're hearing from parents right now?
Parents want a good education for their students. That's the bottom line. I've talked to just a variety of folks at the polls. Before that, I was the one that got the town halls going where we could actually have dialogue with our parents and our stakeholders. And everybody wants their children, number one, to be safe, without a doubt. Want them to be safe, but also want them to get a high-quality education. So, and that's what I'm pushing for. We need to have that high-quality education, but we need to keep our students safe, for sure.
We talk about school safety a lot, and we see the folks on the left who want to pull out SROs, and they want to minimize police at schools. What is your plan for school safety?
Well, I think we need to have everyone involved. I mean, SROs are super important. My daughter is a sheriff's deputy. My future son-in-law is a sheriff's deputy. I've worked with some excellent SROs in my days as principal, assistant principal. Folks that are forward-thinking, are ahead of problems, and that's what we need. We need SROs that want to be there, want to work with the students. Want to try to stop problems before they start. And a good SRO can do that. It can work well with the administration and help everyone. So I think it's vital. I think SROs are vital to keep, number one, the outside attacks from happening, but also to stop and minimize a lot of the problems that happen inside the schools.
And we people think about SROs as these big hulking military style walking around in uniforms and they're really there to provide safety, but they're also there to provide a role model and another positive experience for the students.
Absolutely. Like I say, the one that comes to mind is the one that I worked with in Brunswick County. She was just phenomenal. It was a female, just a phenomenal SRO. She would actually come to me as an assistant principal and say, hey, I think we have a problem starting here. Would you come with me? We'll go sit down with these students and we'll stop a problem before it starts. And I mean, that's just so strong and so important to be able to do that. So obviously we have to protect our schools from outside attacks. But, a lot of times these SROs are just, spot on these important topics and stop problems before they start. So minimizing bullying, minimizing some of the other negative things that happen. So it's hugely important. And again, I personally back the blue 100%. I think that, we need to have strong, smart, hardworking SROs and deputies alike that will support our schools. And I think that for the most part, it's like teachers. I think for the most part, their heart's in the right place. They want to do the right thing. And we just need to support them and continue to have those quality people in schools.
School safety gets in the way of a quality education. What are the other things that get in the way of our kids learning the things that they need to go forward? Well,
I've told this story too many times probably, but one of the things is we have so many other things that are coming in. I'm a person that really pushes the basics: math, language arts or reading, social studies, science. That's what we need to be teaching. Support our students in other ways as they need. But as I've mentioned more than once, I was at a school that has an F rating this year, did not make growth, so it was going actually in the wrong direction. And the superintendent was with me as well as the instructional staff. we were walking through, and they had a ball, and they were tossing it around and just saying, "How do you feel today?" Fifth grade class in a failing school. How do you feel today? How do you feel today? How do you feel today? The vast majority of the students, had their hands like this and just were bored out of their gourd.
Wow.
And we need to be teaching math there, or in this class it was a reading class. We need to be teaching reading, catching those students up for the educational loss they had during the pandemic. And I'm not saying there wasn't a student or two that profited from that, but that's where a good counselor can pull a group together and work with those students and support them as they need. It goes back to one thing that I did as a principal. You have to know your students. You have to know where your students are academically and in other ways. As a principal, I was the guy that was outside in the snow, in the rain. We don't have much snow down here, but in the rain, in the cold, opening doors, saying, welcoming students into the school. And even there, if you see a child coming in with tears in his or her eyes, there's a problem, and you can go ahead and intervene at that point. Or if somebody comes in all mad, that we're going to have a tough day with that child, and again, you can intervene. And that's good teachers do that. They know their students. That's the one. The good teachers, the ones that typically are at the door, welcoming students in. How are you doing? How was your day so far? How are things going? And able to intervene or call that counselor in or call the assistant principal in as needed. We don't need to spend 45 minutes tossing the ball around and just asking everybody how you feel.
I've said this before. I don't remember at all. I went to public schools. I don't remember any teacher, as a matter of course, asking me how I felt that particular day.
Right. And in certain classes, in kindergarten, first grade, having a morning meeting, absolutely perfect,
sure.
Very good. But fifth grade, seventh grade, it's still nice to you tend to take 10 minutes. 10 minutes at the beginning of the day. Hey, how's things going? Maybe a little talk, get things going, and then get into your lesson. 10 minutes, 15 minutes max, 45 minutes every day. No.
That's a lot of time. That's a lot of time. Now, you brought up teachers, and let's face it, teachers are important. They're the linchpin to all this. How can you, at the school board level, ensure that our kids are getting good teachers with good backgrounds for a good education?
That's a great question. And I'll be honest, as a former principal, it goes to the principal. We need to support our principals. We need to ask our principals to go in and do walkthroughs. We need to have that data back and forth. The superintendent needs to hold them accountable. We need to hold the superintendent accountable. That's the thing. I still, to this day, love going to schools. I was at a school today because there was a concern at the school. I went in there to see what was going on and just, to support the school. So I think it's very, very important that our instructional leaders, our principals, are on top of this and able to go into the classrooms. As a principal, I used to be able to, if a parent came in and had a concern about something, it's a lot easier for me to say, I was in that classroom today, or I was in that classroom this week and saw some great education going on in that class. What's your concern? Let's talk about it. Instead of saying, well, yeah, I guess I'll have to go talk to that teacher because I haven't been in there for 2 or 3 weeks. So, that to me, that's a big part of being a principal is knowing your staff, knowing what's going on in the classroom. We have some excellent, and I know for a fact that we have some great principals. We have some that, that need to be to work. And I wasn't definitely a perfect principal by any stretch or imagination. Mm-hmm. So, I continue to make myself better, go to trainings and stuff. But likewise, we have some great folks that we have here. We actually have one principal that I know of that was my assistant superintendent. So she was up to that level, and she brings all that wealth of knowledge down into that principalship where she can share that with everybody. So it's we have excellent staff. We just need to support them and give them the chance to do and I will say and hold them accountable.
Yeah, that's a great perspective because we've talked about teachers a lot and we've talked about other things, but principals are really they're the captains of each ship, aren't they? If we look at each school as an independent unit, it's the principals that have to guide everything.
Absolutely. And as a principal, I remember superintendent saying to me, bottom line is it doesn't matter what the teacher did. Well, it does, of course, matter, but they would say it doesn't matter what the teacher did or the assistant principal did. the buck stops with you, Pete. The buck
Yeah.
stops with you, and I still feel that way on the board. The buck stops with me. Everyone. There's 7 of us. We all have equal power, but it stops with us, and our job is to make New Hanover County Schools the very best. That's why. That goes back to my why. Why do I do this? Why? I've had more than one person say, Pete, you got horses. Why don't you go play with your horses and your cows and just enjoy life? And that's my why. It's because I want to make New Hanover County Schools the best school system in the county, in the state, and not to say we're the best, but it's all about educating our students. And each and every one of those students, I saw a great young man today at one of the elementary schools, and he just came up and gave me this big smile and hugged on my leg and said, "Oh, you're the best." And that's what it's all about is those kindergartens and those 12th graders and those early college students. Every single one of them is hugely, hugely important to me. You mentioned the polls before. I have spent a lot of time so far, and I'm going to continue to spend a lot of time at the polls. And I've actually had folks from the left. I've had Democrats come up and say, Mr. Wildeboer, we respect what you've done because you obviously care about students, as number one, students and the faculties of the schools. And that's what it all goes back to, is doing the very best job I can do, the superintendent can do, the principals can do, the teachers can do for those students each and every day.
What else is on your mind? We've talked about quality in education and empowering principals. We've talked about parents before, but what are the other things that you are working on as you get back on that board? What are you focusing on?
Well, one big thing is, as a board, we need to be a cohesive team. We need to, not that we're going to agree on everything by any imagination, but we still need to be able to work, and we need to be a role model for other boards, the school level boards, and work in a cohesive way. Like I say, even if I lose 4-3 in a vote, but still not rolling eyes at each other or talking over each other or being disrespectful to each other or calling out, I got the Robert's Rules of Order, and I know some people are like, well, why don't we just wait until the new board starts? Well, very simply, because we need to lay a foundation now to get ready for that new board so that they can see and build on what we do. I think it's paramount. We've wasted way too much time. We have meetings that go until 11:30 at 12 o'clock at night. When I originally got on the board, we had one meeting a month. Some of those were long, but one meeting a month. Then we divided into 2 to try to bring the meetings down. But when we have some people that just talk and talk and talk, we have others that talk over each other or are rude to each other. We need Robert's Rules of Order followed very closely so that we can get order back to our meetings and we can get the business of what I said before, getting the best education for our students each and every day done. And that's what we need.
And it's not just because you're in education, everything that you do is an education opportunity. And so it's not just a way to get things done, but it's a way of demonstrating how you can get things done and talk with each other. Pete, you've been on the campaign for a while now, and you and I have talked before on this broadcast. If people hear nothing else from you, what do you want them to know about you that will convince them to put that little check in the box when they go into the polls?
Well, Pete Wildeboer serves 2 things. Number 1, he serves God, and number 2, I serve the students of New Hanover County Schools, and it's all about educating our students. So that's where I start my day. That's where I end my day. I'm a family man. I have 3 wonderful children that went through and benefited from New Hanover County Schools. I myself was an educator in New Hanover County Schools as well as my wife was. We both have retired at this point. But, I'm going to do everything I can to help our students. And that's what it's all about. Pay raises. We need, especially as I voted for teacher assistants and bus drivers and our maintenance folks, our cafeteria workers, $15 an hour is just not enough for them to do the job we need them to do. And I've seen some unbelievable teacher assistants go through some situations, especially with some children that, exceptional children at times, And, they give their, sometimes, unfortunately, their blood, sweat, and tears. And we just need to give them a decent working wage. So that's one thing. We need to do that. But again, at the end of the day, it's all about getting the best people around our students so they can have the best education possible. We should be second to none.
There's that whole ecosystem that surrounds kids as they go to school that often gets overlooked, but they need to be supported. Pete Wildeboer, how can they get in touch with you? You're going to be at the polls. You're out there all the time and talking to people. How can they also get in touch with you?
Well, I actually had 2 calls. I was a little late to go into the polls this morning because I had 2 phone calls from folks that have gotten some negative campaign ads from other people. My daughter actually got one that had a big X through my face. But these people wanted to hear more from me. Let me give you my cell number first. This is my own personal cell, 910-620-8443. You can look at wildeboerforeducation.com is my website. And then my Facebook page is Wildeboer for NHCS Board of Education. You can donate on the website also. And we do, we're fighting that battle. We're right at the end here. We're at that last sprint. I was a track runner back in my day and ran the quarter mile. And we're on that last curve, coming around, ready for that last sprint. And every bit can help because we do need more handouts. We need more signs. We need so many other things. So and $25, $50, any bit can help. I also would ask for your prayers because I do believe that God is on the throne and He's going to put the best people in those important roles. So,
amen.
Thank you so much.
Amen. Hey, Pete, thanks for being here. Thanks for taking the time out, and we're going to get you across that finish line. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Rule. Thank you for your time. And again, please vote Wildeboer for NHCS Board of Education.